Hello guys and welcome here to the Carvana Wildcard Series. This is race number 16 here today from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. This is the opening playoff race for 12 drivers chasing for or hoping to have their chance at a Carvana Wildcard Series championship. And it all gets started today with Dave James on the pole and Miguel Zapata to his outside. Keep in mind, for the opening race of the playoffs, it is a short 8-lap race here. And of course, this first round, a little bit more forgiving than the next two, because the next two rounds are only 2 races long. So a little more room for error, but obviously a win in this round or the round of 8 will punch your ticket into the next respective round. If you win in this round, you advance to the round of 8. If you win in the round of 8, you advance to the championship 4. New this year, winner does not take it all. It is the championship 4 goes back to the old playoff format. The only difference is there are only 4 guys going for the championship, and the playoff points carry over. Whoever has the most points after Coda and after Bristol will be your Carvana Wildcard Season 2 champion. So a lot is at stake here in this playoffs and not much room for error, as we are going to get things kicked off today from Mid-Ohio in just a moment. We want to remind you, this is the Carvana Wildcard Series on GCN. Let's roll the intro and we'll be right back in just a moment. Through turn 4. Does the 24 have enough? It's going to be a drag race to the line. Welcome back. We want to take a moment real quick and show you your road course championship standings. Obviously, the playoffs do not impact this portion of the standings, and it will not impact the oval one when we check that out at the next race. The next race will be at Gateway. So that'll be race number 2 in the round of 12. But of course, there is some business to settle. Keep in mind, there are only 3 road courses left on the schedule. It's this one, Toronto, and Coda to determine the road course champion. And that battle will get started here, as it'll be Dave James and Miguel Zapata through the final turn onto the front stretch. The green flag is out at Mid-Ohio. And off into turn 1, Dave James gets the advantage. Miguel Zapata falls in behind. Another person battling for third back there. Keep in mind, early on, the positions will be crucial. Otherwise, you may be playing follow the leader, as Joshua Sakali will look for third and he'll get it. Keep in mind, Sakali enters this race with no playoff points. He made the playoffs, he did not win a race. So for him, he needs a lot of help if he wants to advance to the next round of the playoffs. He is battling hard with that 09. The 09 is not giving it up easy. Keep in mind, Rob Evans is not a playoff driver. So for him to be racing this aggressive, obviously he knows the stakes for the 31, but he also knows that he missed the playoffs and he wants to get to victory lane to at least cap off the season on a high note. And I believe he's also still in the road course championship, if I remember correctly. And if he is, then obviously he has a lot to battle for. So everyone in this field still technically has something to fight for in this race, whether it's the overall championship, the road course championship, or the oval championship. As we only have 4 ovals left, and after today we'll only have 2 road courses at Toronto and Coda. So that's a lot at stake still in just a few short races as Dave James leads the opening lap. And keep in mind, him leading laps and sitting out front right now, that's key to getting to the next round of the playoffs. Because obviously a win will lock him in. But behind him, obviously, Miguel Zapata's back there. In second, your Daytona winner. He's only won on an oval so far. Joshua Scully has not won this season. Then there's Dylan Young back there hanging out in 6th. For him, obviously, he wants to punch his ticket into the next round, but Dylan Young is also competing for that road course championship. Anyway, let's take a look where Mitchell Collins is, your regular season champion. Not off to a good start in the playoffs. He's running in 17th right now. And he's battling with Brad Stover, a fellow playoff driver. And he's kind of wedged between, there's 4 of them back there actually. Mike Irwin is back there 19th after a huge win at VIR last race. Then Crystal Soleo was up ahead, another winless driver that made the playoffs. Again, not something that's normal for this series or the Jello Cup series that we see a winless driver make the playoffs, and obviously she's going to have a lot of work to do because she is on the outside looking in as far as getting into the next round as we get started. Dave James puts a little bit of a gap between himself and Miguel Zapata. A little bit of facts on this track. Obviously, the NASCAR Xfinity runs here. The NTT Data IndyCar Series runs here as well. And if I'm not mistaken, sports cars run on this track as well. So there you go. There's 3 key players on this track during a normal season. As Dave James will climb up the hill. You see Miguel Zapata maintaining that gap as we go through the final little hairpin over there, down to the final turn, and Dave James is going to lead yet another lap. There are no double points races upcoming in this round, nor the second round, but obviously the final race at Bristol is a double points race, as well as our championship race. And there you go, Dave James makes up a ton of time there, going down the front, going down that stretch, because obviously it looks like he has more horsepower than the 66 of Miguel Zapata. And then up to the S's here. And with this playoffs being consistent of a lot of ovals, or with just one more oval race than there are road course races, obviously there is a lot at stake. here, and a lot more ground for these oval drivers to make some ground up compared to the guys who've been good on road courses this season. As we've now passed the halfway mark, keep in mind there should be a cycle of stops coming up. Even though Dave James has pretty much led the most laps today, that pit cycle could trip him up. And then the question is, will anyone play strategy? Because they all know how valuable that win will be as they go on to Toronto and Talladega in the next round, as well as as well as Gateway in this round. And I want to say, this is why I need to take notes for the race. But anyway, Dave James stretches out his lead to 1.2 seconds as he's on his way to getting a playoff point. Will he pit this time? Indeed he will. Down to 55, and Miguel Zapata stays out. So does the 31 of Joshua Scully. Keep in mind, those two need to win. Oh, Dylan Young stayed out too. That's crucial for the playoffs. So actually, there are 4 road courses. Let me correct myself a little bit here. There are 4 road courses in the playoffs. Mid-Ohio, Barber, Toronto, and Coda. So still a lot of ground to make up for the road course guys. On the oval side, we got Gateway, Talladega, and Bristol. So my apologies for that. Yeah, we got Gateway up next, and then Barber is the elimination race. So winning here at Mid-Ohio could be a huge feat for some of these guys. And for Joshua Scully back there, he's winless, but he's in the playoffs. Those playoff points are eventually going to hurt him, or those lack of playoff points are eventually going to hurt him as we move forward in the season, or in the postseason here. And the rest of the leaders now making their way onto the pit lane. See Mitchell Collins back there. He's one of the drivers who stayed out an extra lap. The 11 running a similar paint scheme to the 18, so keep an eye on that. Oh man, Dave James, I don't think he had a good stop because he's got the 09 all over his bumper. The 09 looking to play spoiler. And down the front stretch here, battling for the lead. They are side by side. And Dave James is going to lose a handful of positions, but he will get by Ben Crouch maybe. And a nice passing zone here. I think he's going to get it. These guys must have gone 4 tires. Because look who's leading. That is Miguel Zapata, your Daytona winner. Keep in mind, he needs to lead the rest of these laps to not only clinch the... Obviously, if he leads the next lap or 2 here, he'll get the win. That's a Booger McFarlandism right there. But he could also walk out with max points. And with max playoff points. Keep in mind that if 2 drivers tie for the most laps led, then both drivers get the playoff point. It is not down to a tiebreaker. As we come to the white flag, this time the 99, you see there Trevor Collins, he's having some issues. As we come back to the line, 1 lap to go for Miguel Zapata. We have not talked much about him all season since that Daytona win. He's still been running up front. He's had some inconsistency, but that's quite all right. He's had the playoff points all season from that big win at Daytona. And he was up front. He was battling. We thought he'd battle for the regular season championship. Kind of had a little bit of a mid-season slump. But I think they came to play in these playoffs. They were in third most of the race. Or second or third. Oh, he runs it off a little bit. I don't think it'll matter. Joshua Sakali is closing in this back stretch. You can tell just how aggressive that 31 is driving. He knows he's got a shot. But it's not going to be enough. To the final turn, Miguel Zapata will pick up his second career win and advance to the round of 8. And Miguel Zapata, the first driver to punch his ticket into the round of 8. Congratulations to the number 66 group. Joshua Sakali, he closed quite a bit there on the back half of the course. It just wasn't enough today. But still a great effort for that 31 team. Certainly those valuable points will help them. I don't know if it'll get him into the top 8, but it'll help him a lot. And then Dylan Young, how's about a good run for that number 2? Even if that doesn't help him move closer to clinching, he at least had a good points day, especially on the road course side of things. That's a good day. Same for Joshua Sakali as well. Like we said, there's not just one championship to battle for. There are 3 in this series. And Miguel Zapata might have just thrown his hat in the ring today and said, I'm not done on the road course side, necessarily. As we want to thank you for watching Carvana Wildcard Series opening playoff race here on GCN. From Mid-Ohio, here come your results and standings. This is Brian James signing off.